Back again with another video on the 2023 Rapid Blue SS convertible, and today I'm going to be installing something that I don't really want to install, but I do like having nice paint, and I think that this is definitely going to help. So a lot of people mentioned this when I had the white LT1 and I put the replica MMR wheels on. And now I have this Rapid Blue and I put the genuine 1LE wheels on, is adding rock guards. So these do stick out quite a good bit once you get to the lower section of the fenders. You can see there, that whole lower section of the tire really sticks out a good bit, and it's the same on the rears. So I actually ordered two different kinds of rock guards, and I'm going to see which set I prefer. So quite interesting straight off the bat, I got the ZL1 Addons Deluxe rock guards, which came in this super thin box, and then I got these from Extreme Online Store, which is the company that made the ZL1 1LE front lip on this car. And this lip fits really awesome. It reused all the factory mounting holes. The fitment is excellent. There's no gaps. It finishes super tight. I really like the quality of it overall. So I figured, I bet they make pretty good rock guards, considering I like the quality of the splitter. So I'm gonna take a look at these first. I'm gonna check them out, and then I'll make a decision which way I'm gonna go, because they do have a different look to them, and we'll go over that in the video. Okay, so this is one of the fronts from the Extreme Online Store kit. You can see here how it has this raised section, which helps with getting a flat mating surface against the inside of the fender liner here, because it's just sit back kind of lower than the edge of the painted fender. But what's interesting is when you find the position on here, and you can kind of feel when it gets into its spot that it's supposed to go into. So that feels like it's mated up there because it's not going to move. You can see here how the top edge actually sticks out. So it doesn't taper inwards, it sticks out by a good ½ an inch. You can see here how the top there, it actually has a ridge to it. So this ridge here kind of is supposed to go up against the inside of the painted edge there. So once again, I'll get it into its spot. So you can see here, that is going to stick out like that. And also, if you look at the bottom there, it doesn't actually follow the shape of the sills. I think these are designed to allow you to run the ZL1 style side skirts. I think that that's to accommodate for those. So if you're not running those and you're running the factory side skirts with no extensions, then you're going to be left with that extra pocket showing on the backside. That isn't too much of an issue for me, but I really can't say I'm the biggest fan of having this sticking out like this the whole way. So I'm going to get the ZL1 Addons one out of its box, and so I can compare the other one and see which one I prefer. Alright, so the ZL1 Addons, it's nice that they use genuine 3M tape. If you buy any of that stuff off eBay from China, it usually comes with some non-branded tape that doesn't really work very well. There's the 3M VHB, which is very high bond stuff, tends to do a lot better. I'll have to prep the surface before I stick anything on. You can see here that lower push pin is going to go into that very furthest hole, and then it's going to go something like that once I do get it staged up. But right off the bat, I can tell you I much prefer how this tapers in and finishes into the fender at the top rather than sticking out ½ an inch. Obviously, the other one that I have, which I just test fit, this guy right here, undoubtedly offers more protection because it sticks out, like I said, the whole way up. So it definitely offers more protection, but I just don't know if it's going to bug me that I have that 1/2 inch of plastic sticking out of the top compared to these ones, which are going to go, again, something like that. So it's definitely a trade-off, I think, with these ones, because these definitely give better coverage, and if it's the priority is getting protection on the car, then perhaps these are the way to go. This does require drilling and riveting, so that's something which not everybody's going to be the biggest fan of, but at the end of the day, if you removed these, you're only going to be left with 3 holes in the fender liner, which isn't a big deal. You would never see those unless you were actually looking for them, and even then it would probably be hard to spot because it's all dark behind there. There's no light, so it's not like you're going to see 3 holes, you know, poking daylight through, because this is inside the fender area. So to me, that's not even a big deal at all. I'm not the biggest fan of that there. It doesn't look great if you're looking for it, but doesn't look terrible. It's kind of tough, really. Like I said, it was not that I absolutely hate these ones. It's just that I don't like how they stick out. If this top edge tapered in, I would be far more favoring installing the Extreme Online ones. But I just don't think it's gonna work for me. I think I'm gonna get frustrated looking at them. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the ZL1 Addons. And yeah, so I'm gonna fit the front one here now and see how it comes out. So these are the little clips that you get with the front rock guards. So as soon as I've got this, I basically have to peel off the bottom couple of inches, put the push pin in, and that will kind of get the bottom started. And then I will put the clips in and then peel the tape out and kind of use my hand to give it a really firm stick. I'm using some of the PNS surface prep. I just wiped it down, just giving it a minute for it to fully flash off. And then I always keep some of these handy. These did not come in the kit, but I always use this whenever I'm doing anything with 3M tape. So definitely grab some of these, adhesion promoter. Just wipe it on. It comes out like a little towelette, like a little baby wipe. So you kind of wipe it on, give it about 30 seconds for it to get tacky, and then it gives you a much better chance of the 3M tape getting a strong bond to any painted surface. So yeah, little tidbit. So I'm gonna get it prepped, peel back this little bit, and then I'll get it installed there, and I'll get back with you in a second. So I've given it about 90 seconds. So now I've pulled back the bottom couple of inches of tape. I'm gonna use the clip at the bottom there to get this locked into its correct spot at the bottom, and then I'll line it up so that it's where it's supposed to be. I'll pull the tape out from the side, and then I'll apply the clips, and this will be all installed. So once you've got this stuck down, you want to really give it some good force. I'm kind of pushing with the back of my hand against the tire, so I'm kind of doing this to really get the 3M tape. You know, put some pressure on it, because it does improve the bond by giving it a lot of pressure, because you kind of, that 3M tape is saturated with adhesive fluid, and so by squeezing it, you're kind of making sure the surfaces are fully wetted out. And as it cures, that's ultimately what's going to determine how good of a bond you get, is how well you've prepped the surface and how well you've also given it some pressure so that it grabs. But that looks nice and tight there. You can see here the 3M tape is barely visible as you get towards the bottom. It's invisible at the top. I've kind of pushed that as hard as I can for a couple of minutes now, just continually giving it pressure along the whole thing. So now I'll just snap in these 2 clips. One of these just goes in the middle here. There it goes. That's the bottom clip. Symmetrical, these clips, there's not an orientation they need to go on. And then we'll just find this top edge, nice and near the top. Boom, nice hard snap, you can feel it's behind the painted edge. And there we go. That's the other side done on the fronts. Super easy, not having to remove the wheel. I mean, that's as clean as you can hope for. You know, I heard some people, or read that some people said, well, the more expensive ACS Composites ones look more high-end because they aren't as skinny as the ZL1 Addons ones. And it's like, well, yes, but isn't the idea you want them to be as slim and as kind of discreet as possible? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather have them be as thin as possible. There's a big difference between, these are very much similar to the ACS Composites ones, which are the most expensive you can get. But these are way thicker from the side profile. So it's like, what do you really want poking out of the side of the car? Do you want some really thick plastic edge? Or do you want something that's kind of sharp and sleek looking? I mean, I'll take the thinner look. I don't want them to be kind of fat and bulky. If these didn't fit with a chunky edge on the top, then maybe I would use these ones, because they definitely look like they're form-fitting and they're a nice quality piece for what they cost. But I do like how slim these ones are. So there's pros and cons to both, but I actually like how slim the ZL1 Addons ones look on the car. All right, moving on to the rear. Just says using the factory bolt holes, which is awesome. So I guess you get these longer screws, and then you get these Teflon spacers. So those two use the two top holes, and then the longest one goes at the bottom. So yeah, it's gonna go something like that, which is nice and clean. So I'm gonna see if I can do this without taking the tire off. I think what I might do is I might just use my jack just to take the weight off the suspension and just kind of lift it a little bit. As if I can look in there, I don't know if the camera's going to adjust. I can see 1, 2, and the third one is right near the top of the tire here. So yeah, we'll see. I might be able to get away with using, if I just put some masking tape on the edge here so I don't damage anything, I might be able to just use a ratchet with the T15 Torx bit. And then it comes with Phillips head attachments for the replacement hardware, so that will the only challenge. I have to see if I have a Phillips head on a ratchet, otherwise I'll have to take the wheel off. So let's see, we'll see what we can do here. So I decided just to pull the rear wheel off. It takes like less than 2 minutes. I've got the ZL1 jacking pucks on here. Can't really see it because of the rubber cup on top of the jack, but just gives me a million times more access, so that way I'm not struggling with little attachments trying to get these off. So I'm going to remove the factory bolts and then get the new ones installed. Okay, so this one's all finished up. I apologize for the background noise. There's a lot of landscaping work going on today, so I'm just having to deal with it. I actually shortened up the bottom spacer by maybe 3 millimeters. I just used my Dremel to shave it down. Still allows a little bit of clearance there, so it's not rubbing up against the paint, but I didn't like the gap that it originally had, so I shortened the spacer down just a hair to close that up so that it looks far more better fitted from here, because there was just too much daylight at the bottom. So I just modified that a tiny bit. And there she is in place. Definitely a lot easier with the wheel off. Looks nice and sleek. So I'm going to go ahead and do the last one and then I'll be all finished. So I haven't modified this spacer yet, but I already snugged up the top 2 bolts, and you can see here that spacer sticks out by quite a good bit, so that needs to be definitely shaved down for me to be happy with how that's going to look from the side. It just looks like it's, again, about 3 mils. I don't want it to touch the paint because I don't want it to rub up against it necessarily. I don't want it to kind of chafe through over time, but that can definitely be closed up. So I'll cut it down with my Dremel bit and then we'll do another test fitment. All right, so I just cut it down by a few millimeters with my Dremel cutting disc. So now I'll go ahead and do a second test fitment. Okay, slightly shorter spacer, definitely looks a lot better. Again, it's not chafing against the paintwork, but it still closed it up by a good bit. So now I'll go ahead and refit the wheel and we will be all finished. Okay, so project is complete. Took me less than an hour, and that included removing the rear wheels. Made things a lot easier. I must say it was really nice that I did not have to take the front wheels off to get the mud flaps installed. That was absolutely piece of cake, and the end result is as good as you could hope for. I'm really happy that I ordered 2 different sets so that I was able to choose my favorite between the 2. The Extreme Online store looked to be a good product. The plastic feels like nice thick quality. I do like the way that these are designed to have the bump here, like the AC composite ones, ACS composites, sorry, get that correct. So that they do fit against the inside of the fender liner without needing any spacers. But ultimately, I did not like the way the bottom was designed to accommodate the ZL1 side skirts, because most people, or a lot of people, just have factory cars and we don't have the giant side skirts. So I didn't like that doesn't follow the factory lines. And I also did not like, and probably the main reason I didn't install these, was the top edge. I did not like how they stuck out a good ½ an inch in a square shape. To me, it just looked like they were poorly designed, to be honest. I did not like that. Maybe it's just done to give you absolute maximum coverage, but to me, it just looked unfinished. Probably a good product for someone who's running on the track and needs maximum protection, so you want it sticking out all the way to the top. But for someone who's street driving, I think these are going to do just fine. So there we go. That's the project done. I'm glad that I did it now whilst the car is brand new, so I can hopefully keep the paint in great condition. And a little tidbit of advice for anybody else who buys and installs these rock guards. Since you are using 3M tape on the front, don't get the car wet for a few days. And if you can help it, don't drive on the car for 24 hours, because any wind that is acting on the mud flap as you are driving is going to act as a flexing force, and that may compromise the sticking and the bond of that 3M tape on the front. And you really want to give it the best chance possible of curing and getting a complete bond on the inside, because really the way that this is bonding now over the next 24 hours will determine how they are for the life of the mud guards. So if you get a really good bond now, then it will definitely help with how they stay on the car in the future. So don't drive on it if you can help it for 24 hours, and definitely don't get it wet for a few days. Several days if you can help it. I'm not going to get this wet for at least a week, so that 3M tape can really stick good. So that's it, end of the video. Appreciate you all as always, and I'll be back again really soon.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us.